So, Mark, did you see that truck that drove right through Main Street Station? I've always thought that with the way that door lined up with the street, somebody was going to do it, but it took all these years.
It's sad that it's happened again, Sean.
What?
That tiger got lost on the way to the Masters.
What? Well, from Main Street over to another new street, we've talked recently about Bruno Mars and his parade that happened today. And hopefully people are going to go see him at Allegiant Stadium. My wife's going to Allegiant Stadium, Mark, to go see Bruno Mars. She got tickets this week with her friends. So I'm paying my tribute to Bruno by sending my wife.
Did you get it at the half-off ticket thing?
No, her friend got the ticket, so I don't know. But she's going to have fun with Bruno Mars. But let's talk Vanderpump, because Bruno Mars has a street. Lisa Vanderpump needs a street. And Caesars is applying to rename that little alley between Pinky's and the Vanderpump Hotel, that little tiny alley that really isn't even a street, as Vanderpump Lane. But there is one problem. The county says this is just an alleyway and we don't normally name them. And so they recommend denying Lisa Vanderpump her lane. How dare them?
It's sexist. I mean, Bruno gets a street named after him. Lisa's done more for Vegas than Bruno has, except for Bruno propping up MGM's bottom line. But no, I mean, it's weird that they're trying to do. I wonder if this is just because of the Bruno Mars stuff and the parade, and they're like, oh, we should do something too. I don't know. Nobody uses that alley really. A car occasionally comes out of there, and then it's annoying because there's just people walking in front of it nonstop. But why wouldn't you just like put a sign on the side of the building or spray paint it, do a mural and name it Vanderpump Lane? You don't need an actual sign or it to be named by the city. You could still kind of put something there.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, don't they have a better street, Caesars? Don't you own a better street? Come on, Bruno Mars gets this whole beautiful drive into the arena and the park and all of that. And I think you're right. Even if they say no, they should just do it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to put an actual street sign up. Like, you could put a sign on the side of the building and it'd be fine. I mean, we should say Lisa got a hotel, so she did get something.
Well, Bruno, his demands keep increasing, so I'm sure a hotel is next. So we'll see where he goes. But Caesars and Vanderpump also, when it opens, you're going to have a digital key, Mark. This is going to be the first Caesars property to finally catch up. MGM has had that for a while. Many other hotels have had that for years and years and years. And now Caesars with Vanderpump. And then they say more properties coming by the end of the year. So the future of digital keys at Caesars is coming.
We've talked about this a lot, how I don't really love the digital key. It never seems to work for me in Vegas. It's a struggle with the kiosk. Don't want to check me in or say there's no rooms available too. And this is all kind of a move to not have to have as many people at the check-in desk and things like that, or maybe help with the line some. And if it works flawlessly, it works well, that's great. The one problem is if your phone dies at the end of the night, that's not great. So you have an issue there, but it's kind of crazy that Caesars took this long to get here. I think it's a good idea to roll it out at Vanderpump, a smaller property. You can work out the kinks before you go more wide with it.
I think one thing that they could work on, and some hotels do have this, is printing the keys so that you can just very easily in the app get the QR code, go to, like Rio has this, some of them have that. So you can get the digital key, but easily get the second set of keys. And those processes are getting easier because once you get into some of these hotels in the elevator, it's very awkward to use your digital key to try to tap the elevator. And that's always been a huge issue for me.
Great point there. I forgot about those, that you can just go up and scan your digital key, get a key printed. As long as they have those, I think this is great. And if it works, if it functions, it should help with people checking in. Yeah, you don't get to do the $50 sandwich trick or $20 or whatever it is these days, or try to get that upgrade through schmoozing the front desk person. I guess you could still go wait in line. But if you're just there and you want to get rolling and get to your room, this is a great option.
Well, most Caesars properties don't have that stupid key thing because they're not nice enough, including Flamingo, Link, Harrah's, all the properties in the all-inclusive. And I promised this week that we would break down all of the all-inclusive deals. There's 5 of them in Las Vegas, not just Caesars and MGM. You also have the Conrad Complete Mark for the fancy people in town. And then Plaza and Circa also have their summer all-inclusive deals. Most of these are just running through the summer, although MGM's, as we've talked about, goes wider. And then it's just a matter of comparing them. But let's start with just talking MGM and Caesars, Mark. Do you have any thoughts on like which one is better? I'll throw up the numbers looking at just random dates. The one advantage to MGM, I think, is the fact that it's not only Sunday through Thursday.
Yeah, I actually kind of like MGM's better overall. I think it gives you a little bit more stuff. It gives you the show tickets. It gives you the roller coaster, which is a bit better than the high roller. You do get one drink while you're eating, which isn't great, but Caesars gives you the unlimited drink plan. And the drawback there is if you're going to Vegas to gamble, you're getting your drinks for free anyway, or as a part of your losing. So maybe that's not as beneficial there. And then Caesars only gives you 2 meals instead of 3. So I feel, and MGM is a little bit cheaper overall. I feel like it's a better bang for your buck. The hotel, at least if you're staying at Excalibur, I think is a little bit nicer than the Caesars hotels. So I think when you pair all that stuff up, MGM comes a little bit ahead. Now, if you're doing like a bachelor party, bachelorette party, or something like that, and you're cramming people into a room like sardines, then I think the Caesars plan is the way to go. Or if you don't gamble, but you like to drink, then Caesars is the way to go. But if you gamble at all, I think MGM is the better deal.
I totally agree. I think that a lot of people probably get their drinks when they're gambling anyway. And, you end up a couple $100s cheaper with the MGM deal. You get more activities. So you get high roller with Caesars, but you get a roller coaster ride and a show with MGM. And again, if you can find a relatively cheap weekend. So I looked at June 7th through 9th, which is a Sunday through Tuesday. You're at $343 at Excalibur, of course, $600 at Flamingo. But even if you did the Saturday of that weekend, it was less than $400 for Saturday, Sunday night. And so you actually have more opportunity with the MGM deal. And I think just the vast majority of people, unless they're looking to get completely sloshed, and as you say, they're not already getting free drinks, the MGM experience is better overall. I mean, the location maybe not as good, but I have to think that for the vast majority of people, the MGM deal is better for the people looking to, have that young party weekend. And it just shows, what is Caesars trying to attract here? Because it seems like they're going for the young crowd, get everybody in the car, drive up from California, get sloshed for, and not the weekend, but during the week.
Yeah, I mean, those Flamingo Go rooms are going to get even more trash than they already are, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of crazy. They're shooting for like the 24-year-old spring break crowd. I guess like the Cancun all-inclusive come up and drink the night away. But when you're talking about, even if you gamble a little bit, you get a couple free drinks there, and then you look at the discrepancy in the amount that it costs. That's a lot of drinks for 2 people that you could pay for out of pocket and still probably come out ahead with MGM. Or do the C note and go to CVS, buy a case of beer, put it in your backpack with a plastic bag inside full of ice. You're good to go.
And one last thing, the food is better at MGM. You have more sit-down restaurants, you have buffets, so you have more variety there. And you do still get the alcoholic beverage with your meal. So you get a little bit of alcohol included. I'd love to hear what everybody says, but my vote is MGM, unless you're looking to get sloshed.
Yeah, and we talked about this on the bonus show for the Patreon folks, that Caesars limits it to like 1 or 2 bars at each location. So how backed up does that get? What's that experience like? After a couple weeks, do they limit it to one type of beer and things like that? Like how bad is it going to get is the question. And I don't think that's a great experience. It's smaller bars that you're walking to. It's not like you're sitting down and having a good time at one of the better bars in the Caesars properties. So you got to consider that as well.
But there are 3 other all-inclusive deals on that same weekend or that same set of days. Plaza is $377.42. Plaza includes all you can drink at a couple bars. You get breakfast and dinner, and then you get some other small perks and discounts. Nothing too huge, but you do get drinks at a couple bars. $377 all in for that weekend. Definitely a better deal. Now, Conrad completes a little bit different because they charge $150 per person on top of the Conrad rate. So for the dates that we're talking about, you're looking at almost $1,200, but that gets you access to the Club 66, the fancy bougie club lounge. You get the prefix lunch and dinner. You get a really nice over-the-top experience. I think you get beverages by the pool, all kinds of stuff there. So, it's interesting is these all-inclusive deals are all across the board for who they're trying to target. Caesars seems to be going very low. MGM maybe a little bit higher than that. And then look at Conrad towards the high end. And then Circa announced today that they were releasing a new all-inclusive. They had it down on their site, then it came back up right before we recorded. It seems the same. It's $400 all in, $100 beverage credit, $100 food credit, a day bed at Stadium Swim, $400 for 2 nights, including your taxes and resort fees. So definitely deals. I would say all of these are good deals. Conrad, it is a good deal, I think, for what you're getting, but you're paying a lot for that exclusivity. But I have to give Plaza the win because of bottomless drinks and a lower price point.
I would probably still go with MGM just because of the location and everything like that, but Plaza's right there. I do like that Caesars says 2 meals instead of like Plaza says breakfast and dinner. If you have all you can drink, I don't know how many people are rolling out of bed to go to breakfast. So I would rather prefer to see like, hey, dinner and 1 other meal, and you can make it lunch or breakfast. Some people will still get up, or maybe they'll just stay up throughout the night and go eat. So it'll work, but I like the flexibility that it seems like Caesars offers. I think Circus is a pretty good plan. It might be the best property of them all when you throw it all in there together, and then you get the dining. It's not all inclusive though, but you get the dining discount. You get the bed out there at Circus Swim, Stadium Swim. That's kind of like if you want to be a little bit bougie but still save money.
I just don't think it's on the level of some of the other deals. They haven't really adjusted. Derek Stevens, bottomless drinks across your 3 properties downtown. You're going to have to charge more for that, but can you imagine if you can actually stumble between those 3 properties? They're kind of spread out and you could just enjoy all of Fremont Street.
Well, he already gives away free ones at that golden hour or whatever. So you just go over there and make it feel like it's a part of your package.
Yeah, giant amounts of free play too. Get your $5. Doing all kinds of interesting things. Chime in. What is the best all-inclusive deal in Las Vegas this summer? What do you think? We'd love to know. In a second, we're going to talk about New York Spa Suite. But before we do, I'd love to invite you to subscribe. We're so close to 60K. Help us get over the hump. But Carrie Balicki shared this spa suite over at New York, and it's one of those great old-fashioned Vegas suites that has a big bathtub, jetted spa in your room, and I can imagine mirrors and all, Mark, so, good times happening there. But the suite looks largely like the regular rooms at New York, which I like that design language. I know that it's a little bit mixed in what people think about it, but is this not high-end enough for a suite?
I mean, it depends on the price point. I don't think anybody is going to be blown away at New York. They have nice rooms, but it's not a high-end property. It does feel like the room I stayed at a couple months ago, just extended, and then you have the big tub in there. The tub looks a little older, so I'm guessing that wasn't updated with the
well used.
Yeah. What's the take on over under 7 hairs in the tub?
Hey, it's in the room, so maybe they keep it a little bit cleaner. But yeah, this does look so much. They didn't spend for different materials in this compared to their regular rooms, although I think it's good. And, that property isn't super fancy. I thought it was interesting. Carrie hadn't stayed there in a while. She mentions how they turned the check-in desk into a bar, which is just weird. If you hadn't been to a hotel for a long time, when could you ever say that? They turned the check-in desk into a bar.
Yeah, and it's a massive bar. It's a nice bar. And then you go around the corner and the check-in seems so sad and just like hidden away. And for a hotel that large, it's crazy to me still.
It is, but it turned into a sexy bar. We both have to admit that. They did a good job with the bar. You wouldn't have thought that. But let's fly over to Texas. And Reggie, that casino life, he shared this. I guess these are spreading everywhere, but maybe they've been around forever. These skill-based slot machines, I guess they're in gas stations and everywhere. I know other parts of the country. It just made me think about, first off, I don't know quite how these work. What's skill-based? I guess you just pick the different characters and that's the skill. But also, are we just finding new ways to skirt every law around gambling so that we can just find ways to gamble everywhere?
Yeah, this is kind of crazy because Texas doesn't even have legalized sports betting yet, and then you have this in the gas stations. It seems kind of crazy, but I mean, these kind of machines have been in small bars and like Eagles and VFW clubs and stuff around here for decades now, way before they became online gambling and everything that you see in Michigan. But they had like the weird rule where you had to cash out and they give you a Visa gift card because it's fun play, but then you get rewards for it. So that was their way around it. I know they've held card games at places and they give a percentage to charity to get around the rules. So this has been going on forever. It's just kind of crazy to see it in a gas station.
And it just seems like our society is completely around like this, finding every loophole we can, every single place. And it's just interesting in a state, like you say, that's been very anti-gambling, huge push for casinos from Miriam Adelson, the owner of Las Vegas Sands, and that didn't happen. And so, yeah, there's just been a kind of a pushback against gambling in that state. So it's interesting to see that. And I can't imagine the return to player is all that good on these things.
Hey, Reggie did all right.
He did. He won. Like I said, I still don't know quite what this is as far as skill goes, but super interesting. And I'd love to hear people all over the country watch this show. What are the similar things in your area? Because it does seem like, based on the comments on that thread, that these, like you said, in one form or the other, in some places have been around for a while, and then new versions are coming out now, and it's becoming more prevalent. Love to hear the update from around the country. As a reminder, we have our Patreon. $7 a month gets you access to our weekly after show. I think it's the most fun show I do all week. Lots of laughs, all that good stuff. Patreon.com/MTM Vegas for all the information. Thanks to everybody in our incredible Patreon community. So one of the people we like to talk about on this show is Tillman Fertitta. and his company Landry's, which owns Golden Nugget. And, he's the ambassador to Italy, largest shareholder in Wynn, owns a big plot of land on the Strip, and he's buying Caesars. Guy's doing a lot these days. I don't know what the heck is going on, or he's trying to buy Caesars anyway. But over at Golden Nugget, the OG, Grotto closed. This is another one of those Landry's brands. It moved a few years ago within Golden Nugget, and I don't think this restaurant's ever been that successful. I don't ever seen it busy or all that busy.
No, I mean, when you walk by, it never looks busy. I've eaten in there a couple times over the years. It's been a while, but we always had good food there. So I never understood why it wasn't more busy, and maybe it's just the location of it or what, but it never seemed like if food's not the issue, I don't know what the issue is. Maybe prices.
I saw Vital Vegas break this news, and I think he said that, restaurant saturation, maybe that's the case, but they're only using it for events. There's no future planned replacement for it. So maybe that is the case. This also made me sort of remember this tweet I saw a couple weeks ago that the Claim Jumper over on Green Valley Parkway closed, and this is owned by Landry's. And Claim Jumper used to be a giant chain all over the West Coast and very big portions and really good food. And this Claim Jumper was a staple here in Vegas, and it now closed. And there's only like 5 Claim Jumpers left in the country. And when you go to their website, the one at Golden Nugget isn't listed. And when you go to Golden Nugget, they call it CJ. So I don't know if the one at Golden Nugget has spun off into its own thing anymore. RIP Claim Jumper.
I don't even remember seeing this in Golden Nugget. Where is it?
It's in the back. It's where the coffee shop was. Or way, I don't know. I forget which tower. There's so many towers there. I could walk you there right now, but to describe where it is, it's sort of in the back, though, of the property from Fremont Street. So very, very far away from Fremont Street. But yeah, if anybody knows why it's called CJ at Golden Nugget, but the rest are Claim Jumpers and it's not listed, has it become its own thing now? But we do have to talk about boomers taking over sports books, Mark. And I don't mean those kind of boomers. I mean Boomers, the company, the brand new
such a horrible name.
I've been holding that joke all morning. Anyway, John Mahaffey reported this. I saw this from him, that Boomers is replacing Circa over at the Pass. And if I remember right, and maybe I'm wrong on the order here, but I think the Pass was Circa's first book outside of their main book. And I think this is the first time we've seen Circa lose a book. So I think it's notable in that way. And Boomers also got approval for another sports book, meaning that they're going to be up to 12. This company just started like last year.
It was always a little bit weird to me that Circa was doing the sports books in other casinos because that's its own casino brand in Vegas. So it's kind of like promoting their property inside of another person's property, even though they're separate entities in a way. It just always felt kind of strange. It'd be like a local casino having Caesar's Sportsbook in there. It doesn't make sense. So I could see why they would be like, oh, okay, here's another option. Let's make a change to this. Where like in the past, it was always William Hill, which yes, Caesar's owned, but it wasn't called Caesar's. So it was kind of a way to dance around that maybe people didn't realize William Hill was a part of Caesar's and things like that. So I could see this happening more and more, as if Boomers does a good job. I wish they would change the name. I don't care if it's his dog. It's a horrible name.
Yes, Joe Asher is the man who founded, and it's named after his dog. He's a longtime executive in the space. And really, Boomers is set up to be that independent sportsbook. That's what they're branding themselves as for these smaller casinos. That is also what Circa has tried to do, even though despite the fact that, like you point out, the big Circa book is here. And I really like the small Circa books. There's one at Silverton. The one at the Pass was fairly nice. Here's some construction footage when they were building it. And just a reminder, we've been doing this show a long time. We've seen the entire life cycle of Circa Sports at the Pass.
Yeah, in a few more years, we'll be Boomers ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And you know what Boomers do? They gamble in temporary casinos named after historic Las Vegas properties. Of course, I showed you guys last week going to the Tropicana temporary casino and winning some money there. So that was fun. But another one's coming up. I don't think we have the exact date yet, but United Coin Machine applied for a license for the Moulin Rouge site, which I'm sure has had dozens of temporary casinos over the years because there has not been a casino there in a long time, but they're still trying to keep that license active.
Let's bring the sign back. The best sign in the history of Vegas, in my opinion.
Yeah, let's bring the entire thing back. There's been so many proposals over the years. Not the greatest area anymore. Fires have destroyed a lot, but that sign, how much money has whoever owns it over the years spent on these temporary casinos? So that license is worth a lot.
I think a themed resort like that, a smaller one, more boutique-y type of thing, have like a burlesque club and have it be more Parisian than Paris or more like seedy Paris. I don't know. I think it could be a lot of fun if they leaned into it and somebody would do really well with it. Maybe not in that area, but if you could take that name and move it somewhere else and build something kind of special.
Or just put that sign on top of a parking garage. and we'll be happy with
It's coming
that.
to a bright line near you.
But let's close with this. If you work for a casino, don't rip them off. A few years ago, right? A few generations ago, maybe you end up in the desert. Now you just end up in jail. 3 employees at Binion's allegedly, and this has not gone through trial. And so they're accused. They all pled not guilty. So they say that they are not guilty of this. But according to the charges, stole around $300,000 from Binion's from the coffee shop by ringing up comps when people would pay cash for checks. This happened in 2022 and 2023. So we'll see how the court case plays out. But it's just a reminder that Vegas casinos, and you mess with them, they're vengeful and they're going to pursue this as far as possible. And they got cameras everywhere. Hard to overcome that.
Yeah, I mean, $300K is such a huge amount. It's kind of crazy that a cafe even does that kind of money is staggering. It shows, when we talked about the highest gross restaurants in Vegas, a diner type of place was, leading the way or near the top. So that's interesting in and of itself. And the fact that they were able to pull off $300K over 2 years, or allegedly pull off $300K over 2 years without getting caught. Like, you think they would have noticed that a bit sooner? That's a staggering amount of money.
Yeah, but it shows you high volume. And if you're not auditing receipts in smaller properties, so maybe not as many analysts or something looking at the data later on, or I don't know what happened there. Yeah, you mess with a casino, you're going to get caught. It's just crazy because we've covered some of these stories. Remember people stealing money from the cage, calling up a manager, all these weird sort of things. And what makes you wonder, we hear the stories when they get caught, but how often are people not getting caught?
I mean, I think the most impressive thing of the story is that they had over $300,000 in cash sales. Who's still paying in cash?
It's Binion's, baby. It's Binion's. Old school. I mean, the best days of that place, paying cash, throwing money to the valet, eating up at the steakhouse. What a great classic property. But yeah, I mean, this is the big thing. Skimming from a casino. They don't take you out to the desert anymore. They just throw you in jail.
It's kind of interesting. We haven't seen a barrel pop up in Lake Mead in a while.
So let us know what you guys think about anything we talked about today. The all-inclusive deals, which one of those 5 do you think is the best deal? Which one is for you? What do you what is your breakdown of all of that? Binions, boomers taking over the sports books, everything else we talked about today. Lisa Vanderpump Lane, should we get it? Or should she be upgraded from an alleyway? Let us know down in the comments. We do 3 shows a week. I'll be back in a few days with another show. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you next time.
Have a good weekend, everybody.